Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mrs. Richards, may I please have the roll call?
Yes, President Anderson, let the record show that 4 out of 5 board members are here this evening. Ms. Reese is not able to join us.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I motion to approve the agenda. Seconded by Mrs. Wade. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right, Mrs. Richards, are we ready for Higley Adventures?
President Anderson, we absolutely are. We're excited this evening. We have several students joining us. First, I want to acknowledge our Chinese bridge contestants that, well, we'll get this in a minute. There. Oop. Sorry. These students, Higley High School students, Carson Weingart, a senior, Dylan Phillips, also a senior, Naira Masdu, a junior, and freshman Cody Hill, all participated in the Chinese Bridge online competition in April, where they delivered speeches about their journeys in learning Mandarin. They also showcased their talents in the competition's talent show. Dylan impressed the judges with a martial arts performance. Nara wowed the audience with an ice skating dance, and Kobe performed a Chinese song on his trumpet. Carson's talent was a captivating piano performance combined with singing in Mandarin. Carson's exceptional performance earned him first prize. So I'm going to have Miss Pana Leatherby come up with Carson, and I believe Kobe is here this evening. I want to highlight a couple of other things about Carson. Here are some photos of Carson while he was in China for this competition in October. He won the first place regionally and then represented the U.S. in the world competition where he came in second place. It was an incredibly close competition. He represented the United States and Arizona exceptionally well. So we're excited to have both of you here with your teacher this evening. And before we take pictures, I'm going to let Miss Leatherby say something, and then Carson, can you teach us something in Mandarin?
Well, I have to say I'm super, super proud of my students and the support from the school district. And I'll let Carson give us the short lesson.
Yeah. Okay. I guess you might hear this later when I speak for a moment, but good evening is 晚上好. You guys want to try? 晚上好. Yeah, nice. Good job. Yeah. Perfect, yeah. If I might grab my speech here. So, did a lot of speech memorizing while I was there, so I figured I'd take a break and bring some prepared. 各位校长、学区行政人员、学校董事会人员、老师们、家长们，晚上好！我很欣荣今天晚上能有这次机会短暂的发言，来感谢你们所给我的赞赏，也感谢你们所给我的支持。金济州的赴华机会，参加第17届汉语桥世界中学生中文比赛，是我生活中不可能忘记的一段经历。 也就是由一位又支持、又调动、又鼓励、又辛苦的潘老师而实现的经历。我真的觉得我们学生都应该把他称为潘教练。我们一起努力能达到的成就，其实也是因为我们有这个社区、这个支持基础的。所有学区行政人员、老师和家长。 都一起合作来支持我们追求事业的学生。我知道我能代表所有学生说，我们不仅感到非常感谢，而且被鼓励争斗成功。再次感谢你们的鼓励、你们的赞赏和你们的时间。祝你们今晚奉顺，回家平安。谢谢。 We'll go one more time in the English here. Good evening, everybody. Principals, district administrators, school board members, teachers, and parents. It's an honor to have the chance to speak briefly tonight to thank you not only for the recognition, but also for all your support. My recent opportunity to travel to China and compete in the 17th World Chinese Bridge Competition was an unforgettable experience made possible by my supportive, motivating, encouraging, and hardworking teacher and coach, Mrs. Leatherby, or as we know her in Mandarin class, Pan Lao Shi. And by extension, the Higley Unified School District that supports all of our initiatives. All our successes that we can achieve together are not only from our hard work, but from this community and this support base that we have. The district, teachers, and parents all work together to make us truly grateful, and they motivate us to succeed. Thank you all again for your encouragement, your recognition, and your time. Have a good night.
We're not going to leave Colby out. He's going to teach you something else in Mandarin, so pay attention.
I'll teach you guys two of the easiest ones, hello and goodbye. So hello is ni hao. So let's try that, ni hao. And then goodbye is 再见. 再见.
See, we have teachers up here, too. Great job. I've known Carson since fourth grade. He was one of my students at Bridges. Mr. Bickle is giving you a booyah. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you being put on the spot here and teaching us something. So I know the school board is interested in taking a picture with you guys. Oops, in a minute. All right, next. We are excited to represent or present and let them represent the Spartan Wrestling Program. It just had its most successful year in history, finishing as the runner-up at the East Valley Conference Championship Tournament. Their season was marked by multiple victories, while it was a true team effort. These three young men won the championship for their weight class and played a significant role in the team's success. We are proud of what they have accomplished and look forward to seeing what they continue to achieve next year. So I need Mr. Brandon Keeling to come up.
All right, and I would like to invite up Coach Tidd and Coach Nisbet and Coach Smith, as well as our tremendous athletes, Kingston Judd, who else was here tonight? Carter Walbrecht and Hudson Smith. And since you guys already learned some Mandarin tonight, Coach Tidd said he wanted to teach some wrestling moves as well. Lots, if you don't mind. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. So it was already mentioned in the bio, but Coach Tidd has been working really closely with Higley High to build a really strong connection between our programs. And the effort from the coaches and the effort from our 40-plus athletes that were part of the program this year really showed itself at the end of the season. And as much as it was a team effort, the individual effort from the young men that are up here tonight were just exceptional throughout the season. They put in hours of hard work, dedication, were coachable, and listened to the wisdom of these three men, and they had a great season. We look forward to what they're both going to do at Higley High, and our other wrestler who couldn't be here tonight is actually going to be a Spartan again next year, and so hopefully we get our first back-to-back next year individual champion. So, which we will, Coach says.
Next, we are pleased to announce that last month at the Arizona Interscholastic Press Association's annual conference, our own Williamsfield Yearbook took home 19 out of 24 possible awards. Their top award was Excellence in Theme Development and Design for the 23-24 Yearbook. Their teacher, Mr. Devin Adams, also was invited to present on streamlining yearbook programs in secondary schools. His session was attended well, and we want to acknowledge these guys for their hard work. So, Mr. Adams.
Thank you so much. I'd like to bring up a couple staff members. We have Olivia Ernest, who is last year's editor-in-chief, as well as several editors from this year. Ladies, if you'd like to come on up. We've got a couple of shy people back there. So we really appreciate the board and administration of the district to continue to support the journalism programs, the yearbook programs at both high schools, as well as the middle schools. And we are very honored and blessed to be here and have such wonderful, wonderful human beings who are leading the staff into the next couple of years. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for points of pride here. We want to start with Bridges Bobcats, Mr. Jeff Dickel and Elizabeth Melter.
President Anderson, members of the board, cabinet, Superintendent Richards, thank you for the opportunity to honor our best and brightest. It's truly a full circle moment for me right now, as Carson Wengert was up here 6 years ago with us, with Mr. Berg and I, and we were able to honor him in this capacity. So we're passing the torch to Grayson Suter, our student of our Point of Pride this year. Come on up. Congratulations. Okay, so if you want to stand here, I get to say a few fun things about you, Grayson. So Bridges Elementary School is thrilled to honor Grayson Suter as the 2024 Bridges Points of Pride recipient. Grayson exemplifies a growth mindset daily, approaching challenges with resilience and an unwavering willingness to persevere. Each day, she arrives at school with a smile, ready to learn and tackle new experiences with enthusiasm. Grayson's integrity shines both in the classroom and on the playground, where she treats others with patience, respect, and kindness. She collaborates seamlessly with her peers, always willing to lend a helping hand and foster a supportive learning environment. With focus and determination, Grayson accomplishes her goals and consistently produces work that reflects her pride and commitment to excellence. Through her kindness, growth mindset, and respect for others, Grayson enriches our classrooms and elevates the entire Bridges community. Congratulations, Grayson, on this huge accomplishment. I'm so proud of you. And who did you bring with you tonight?
My mom, my sister, and my dad.
Fantastic. Well, welcome, suitors. Thank you for being here. Okay, congrats. And at this point, I would like to call up. Oh, hang on, Grayson. You're gonna hang right here. We have some gifts for you too, so you can't leave yet. At this point, I would like to call up our certified staff member, Renee Kelly. This is long overdue. I've been able to work with Renee for the last 10, almost 11 years now, and she is excellent, as good as it gets. And so Renee is a 5th grade teacher at our campus. She embodies the qualities we value most in our educators. She is an outstanding teacher who brings unwavering passion and commitment to her instruction every day, creating a classroom where students consistently thrive. Her remarkable test scores reflect her immense level of effectiveness instructionally, yet one of her biggest strengths lies in her deep, authentic relationships with both students and colleagues. Renee is a positive, uplifting presence, hardworking, intentional, and exceptionally insightful. Her love for teaching shines through in all she does, and Bridges is truly fortunate to have such a dedicated and inspiring educator on our campus. Mrs. Kelly enriches our community, truly making it a better place to learn and work. Congratulations. And who did you bring with you tonight?
My husband, Mike Kelly.
Miss Melter.
If I can please have Miss Amy Schutte up to the front. Amy Schutte, our media aide at Bridges Elementary, is truly deserving of the 2024 Classified Staff Member Point of Pride Award. With years of experience in similar roles, Amy brings invaluable knowledge and expertise to our campus. Her warm, welcoming presence transforms the library into a space where students feel both inspired and supported, and her positive spirit is wonderfully infectious. Proactive, dedicated, and highly professional, Amy works tirelessly to ensure that every student's library experience is enriching and enjoyable. On behalf of our entire staff, I can confidently say that Mrs. Schutte is an indispensable and cherished member of the Bridges team. Oh, who'd you bring?
I brought my family with all 8 of my grandbabies.
And finally, can we have Mrs. Morgan Tannenbaum up front, please? You're good. Morgan Tannenbaum is truly deserving of our 2024 Volunteer Point of Pride Award. As a longstanding member of our PTO board, Morgan's dedication to supporting the students, staff, and community at Bridges is truly remarkable. She brings a dynamic, fun, and brilliant presence to every endeavor, working with exceptional organization and tireless energy to make a positive impact. From early mornings to late nights and every moment in between, Mrs. Tannenbaum goes above and beyond to enhance our school environment. Her contributions have made a lasting difference, and we are immensely grateful to have her as part of our Bridges family. And who'd you bring with you?
My husband, Steve Tannenbaum, my son, Colton, my daughter, Ava, my son, Logan, also known as Meatball, and my son, Owen.
Now we're going to pass out cookies or something. Yes. And Mr. Bickle, did you get some information today that's worth celebrating?
I sure did. We were named the number 11 elementary school in the state of Arizona out of 1,700 today. 11th. Huge. Thank you. What I'm most proud of, though, is how long we've sustained this type of ranking. It's been 9 years now where we've been at the top of the state. And it really goes back to the people in our building, our amazing students, staff, and teachers. It doesn't get better than that. So thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks for the recognition.
Congratulations. All right. Next, of course, is Coronado Elementary, Mr. Brian Griggs and Alice Storatini.
President Anderson, members of the board, thank you so much for having us here tonight to celebrate just the great things that are going on at Coronado. And the people that we highlight tonight are definitely a key reason for all the great things that are going on in Coronado. As introduced, so Dr. Stortini is our assistant principal, so she'll kick it off with our certified staff member.
All right, can I have Yay LaSure come on up? All right. Yayla Schur is one of the most energetic teachers that we have ever worked with. Her positivity and encouragement towards teachers, students, and families and other staff is on display every day. As the Mandarin classroom teacher in our kindergarten dual language immersion program, she sets the tone for students' experiences in school. Specifically, what it means to be a Coronado Coyote in the DLI program. Behind the scenes, Ms. Ye is the sounding board for all teachers to get ideas and encouragement and how to best improve their classrooms. When we talk about someone who can provide a premier education for all students in their classroom, we are talking about Ms. Ye. Who'd you bring with you?
I bring my mom and then my sister, and then there's my team member and everyone. Yes, thank you.
All right, and I'm excited to introduce our volunteer, so Miss Merrill, come on down. So one of the things that I appreciate about Miss Merrill is she is a person of details. So she is our PTO treasurer, and she is also someone who, with the bulletin board for the birthdays, so you want to talk about important details, making sure a kid's birthday is accurate and timely, making sure the finances for the PTO accurate and timely, but most of all, she makes sure that every single thing that we do on campus lines up with that premier education for every single student. Ms. Merrill is the treasurer of the parent-teacher organization at Coronado Elementary. She advocates for the vision of student success and the support of those who make that happen. She devotes many hours each week using her attention to detail and focus on the kids. She helps communicate the financial aspects of the PTO in timely and meaningful ways. Her work on the student birthday bulletin board brings a smile to students' faces as they walk through the hallway during their birthday month. Her presence on campus as a classroom volunteer, PTO volunteer, and just an all-around just great person to be working with is someone for the sake of the students, and all the students and staff are greatly thankful for all the work that you have done. So thank you, Ms. Merrill. Who'd you bring with you?
I actually couldn't bring anyone because I coordinate everyone getting to where they need to go.
So what I hear is Ms. Merrill has a night to herself, and so she can have fun. There you go.
Okay, can we have Miss Kelly Harkins come up? Okay, and Miss Kelly Harkins is our classified staff. All right, Miss Harkins is a crucial part of the Coronado team and helps set the tone of our front office. She is one of the first individuals that new families interact with as they enroll. She walks them through the process, is gracious in answering their questions, and her attention to detail is greatly appreciated. Her care extends to the students and staff as she is the one to remember and celebrate milestones for individuals. Ms. Harkins is quick to assist wherever help is needed and encapsulates what we mean when we say, "We are one." Who did you bring with you?
I brought my husband Todd and my son Nicholas.
All right, Hayden Weaver, come on down. This is our student that we are celebrating today. Hayden is a sixth grader at Coronado. You excited? Yeah. All right, so when I consider Hayden, I think of the word faithfulness. So she is someone that you can count on day in and day out. So she is someone who is constantly kind, hardworking, she positively perseveres, she acts respectful, and she works to potential every single day. That's what we expect of every single Coronado Coyote. She embodies that every single day. So nice job, Hayden. So Hayden, when we discuss what it means to be a Coronado Coyote, we look for students who demonstrate that positive perseverance, act respectfully, work to potential, and stay safe. You do that consistently on a daily basis. You work hard, you're a person of character, other people enjoy working with you. Hayden, you are someone who is proactive in encouraging others. You spread positivity around campus, and it does not go unnoticed. Your teachers love having you in class. They're so proud of you. I'm proud of you, Dr. Stortini. So many people are proud of you. All the hard work that you are doing, we are so thankful that you're part of Coyote Nation. We're so excited to see the great things that you have done this year, middle school, and beyond. Okay? You're going to do great things, Hayden. We are so proud of you. And with that, who'd you bring with you?
I brought my brother, my mom, and my dad.
There we go.
All right, I think we're ready. Congratulations, Coronado. Great job. Okay, President Anderson. Next, we have our upcoming events. Thursday, November 28th, and Friday, November 29th. Maybe I'll wait a second and let people transition.
This is a great time. Thank you, everybody, for coming. If you would like to leave, go get some dinner, take care of what you need to for the evening. We're proud of you, and we thank you all for coming tonight. Congratulations.
President Anderson, now we're ready. Next Thursday and Friday, November 28th and 29th, are holidays, which means no school for Thanksgiving. And we wish everybody a safe, wonderful time with their family. Tuesday, December 10th at 6 p.m., there is a virtual teen mental health parent presentation. And we also have a board meeting that evening here in the governing board room. And I would be amiss right now if I didn't say happy birthday to the board president, Michelle Anderson. We can either sing or clap. Which one? Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's great to be 35. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Next is the request to speak. If we could go ahead and play the video.
We value input from our constituents. This time on our agenda has been set aside for anyone from the audience who wishes to address the board. Those that wish to speak should have filled out speaker cards, which are due prior to the start of our meeting. Members of the board may not discuss, comment, or take action on matters raised that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01I, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Also, we ask that audience members practice proper public meeting decorum, refraining from either negative or positive responses, including clapping or verbal outbursts, to ensure fairness to all points of view. Those that refuse to follow these rules may be asked to leave. In accordance with Policy BEDH public participation at board meetings, if considered necessary, the governing board president shall set a time limit on the length of the comment period in order to ensure that each individual has an opportunity to address the board. The president may also set a time limit for individual speakers. Thank you for your cooperation.
Okay, first up we have Kathleen Richards.
Just kidding. Good evening, governing board and members of our HUSD administration. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to take a moment to address, with the failure of the override continuance, to give a very public shout out to all of our specials teachers. I know over the last several weeks, many have asked me if I knew what would be coming down the pike should the override continuance not pass. Many of them have served our community and students long enough to remember the last time an override did not pass and are very worried for the future. It breaks my heart that the community was so sharply divided and by such a small margin. The majority leaned into believing the lie that districts should be able to do more with less. The reality we will now face is that our families will still bear the brunt of financial gaps, supply needs, fees, and more. Instead of distributing the needs across the community over time, we will be faced with cuts and increases, and that is truly disappointing since it was very clearly avoidable. I want to encourage our whole community as we head into the holiday season to think beyond the obvious value of our general education teachers and be sure to acknowledge the small group of teachers that are guaranteed to work with every single student on an elementary campus. These amazing humans provide incredible outlets for our students, support the general education lessons that are being taught in classrooms, and our schools would not be the same without them. I know the board will have some very difficult decisions to be made in the coming months. The decisions that get made should value the whole of education and not become too exclusively pigeonholed in the reading, writing, and arithmetic that some choose to hyper-focus on. Every day, our teachers are doing more with less, and it is deeply disappointing that we could not come together as a community to at least continue a level of support that we have already committed to giving over the last several years. I hope all teachers understand, but tonight, especially our specials and electives teachers, that despite what it may seem both from the dais and our community, they are in fact very valued. They are appreciated, and their impact is felt in our homes and our families every day in the growth that we see in our children. We would not be the same without them, and we will continue to support them as best we can. Thank you.
Next is Mindy Becker.
Hi, thank you guys. I am a parent in this district who has committed myself to trying to make a difference in some small way. Sometimes it's to use my voice. This tends to challenge people, and I will continue to challenge people who I believe are acting in an unethical manner. One thing that I will continue to speak up about is book challenges. There will even be some here today coded on the agenda as ratify payroll and expense vouchers. There is a small group of people who have a larger political agenda who will try to insist that they are protecting the children, but in fact, they are trying to control and remove parent choices using the board. But these challenges are homophobic and racist at their core. Allow me to explain. In May of this year, I was in a bit of a heated exchange with a Facebook account by the name of Tim Lee. When I continued to insist that as a parent, I am fully capable of deciding if a book is appropriate via permission slip and/or syllabus, and I would, in fact, prefer to be given broad and challenging literature choices for my children, allowing me to parent them as I see fit, Tim Lee saw it fit to post the following, and I quote, "Mindy Becker, I am not afraid to address this issue directly. Your actions demonstrate a serious lack of ethical standard. It is alarming that you have influenced your child to question their gender identity. This raises significant concerns about your mental health, and unfortunately, your child is suffering as a result." I'll be honest, I was floored. Who would talk about my child in such a way? Who would have the audacity to imply poor ethics to queerness or mental illness to gender identity? And what, pray tell, does this have to do with literature? It was only in the last couple of months that I learned that it is a Higley Unified board member who is the person behind Tim Lee. Which made me wonder, is this member really willing to, as she quoted under her alias, address this issue directly? Well, before she does, I want to make it very clear. Being queer is no more a matter of ethics than is being a brunette. Questioning or living in a different gender identity does not make you mentally ill. Mothers of such brave and amazing children are not mentally ill, nor are they special. I'm just a mom who, like many of you out there, will give every last bit of everything she's got to make sure that her children are happy, healthy, and loved. I want to take a moment before this board to thank teachers at Higley Unified that stand up tall to defend and protect our students and their educator colleagues. No shame to those who cannot. This is your livelihood we're talking about. But for those of you who do, in a million different ways, big and small, I see you and I treasure you. I end this with a call to action to those listening, especially those parents who hold so much power. It's hard to stand up. It's difficult to be vocal against those who are so awful, finding pleasure in harming the marginalized. But silence is compliance. If you see something that isn't okay, send an email, reach out to a struggling family, check on a teacher, let your voice be heard. Finally, to the board member, be yourself, embrace transparency, stop hiding behind fake and nameless accounts. If you want to argue with, disparage, and harass parents of Higley students, at least summon a fraction of the bravery of this trans community that you hate and say it with your full chest. Thank you.
Next is Barbara Summers.
Good evening. Tonight I must voice my deep disappointment and frustration regarding the actions of a school board member who has chosen to hide behind a false online profile. This profile has been used to target community members and hardworking staff, criticize the district unjustly, and attack candidates who have stepped forward to serve our community. This individual has taken it upon themselves to spread misinformation and engage in attacks that go beyond criticism and become personal and damaging. Furthermore, it's deeply alarming that they have been working alongside others with the intention of legally challenging educators, aiming to dismantle the support system that our students rely on every day. These actions are not only unprofessional, but deeply concerning. These actions undermine the core values of our district. Our board members are entrusted with the responsibility to act with integrity, transparency, and respect for the very people they are supposed to serve. When one of our own chooses to manipulate information and act in secrecy, they erode the trust we place in our leaders and set a damaging example for our students. The repercussions of this behavior are significant. This misuse of power and influence not only distracts from our mission, but also sends a harmful message to our students that they may be targeted for standing up or speaking out, that their educators are under attack, and that those in positions of leadership may choose to operate dishonestly rather than openly for the community's best interests. This behavior is absolutely unacceptable. Our students deserve a safe and supportive environment, and our teachers and staff deserve the freedom to do their jobs without fear of legal threats or anonymous harassment. I urge this board to take a firm stand against these actions. Let us commit to upholding transparency, integrity, and respect in all that we do. If any member of this board cannot meet these standards, then it is time to reconsider their place on this board. Thank you for your attention to this serious issue. I hope we can move forward with renewed dedication to the values that define our district. Thank you.
Next is Heather Balch.
Good evening, everyone. It's a true privilege to be here tonight to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, the importance of preschool and the powerful bonds that we build with children and their families from a young age. Preschool is more than just a place where children learn their ABCs and how to count to 10. It's where they start to build trust, confidence, and a sense of belonging. It's where they take their first steps in socializing with others, learning to share, developing empathy, and in some cases, speaking their first words. And it's not just about the children, it's about families too. By creating strong relationships with parents and caregivers, we form a support system that helps children thrive both at school and at home. We can connect with the children early on. We're not just shaping their academic journey, but helping them grow into curious, kind, and resilient individuals. When we build these bonds with families, we make sure that every child has the support that they need to succeed. After all, it truly takes a village, and preschool is where it all begins. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey. You're going to hear some exciting information about our program later this evening, and I just want to encourage us all to continue to foster these great relationships with our youngest students. Thanks.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda.
President Anderson?
Yes.
Is it possible for me to ask admin to look into some of the things at least that were presented in terms of like status or how we can contact to get information that was expressed tonight from public comments?
Board Member Wade,
Yeah.
can you be a little more specific for me, please?
Well, I mean, there were statements made about behaviors that seem to counter our current policies, so I'm just trying to understand what is and isn't, so if we could, follow up with that.
Madam President, Ms. Wade, the request for the administration to review the issue has been made. Thank you.
President Anderson, I'd like to address a few of the things that were said. To come here and act like you guys in the community aren't creating chaos is absurd, because those of you that spoke are creating chaos in the community. And you are part of the organization of having a community member send me a sexually explicit book with a bundle of rope to the district office as a threat. You guys are part of a text group that's called She Woman AVH Haters Club. So don't come here and act like you guys are doing some good when you guys are creating the chaos. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
I motion to approve the consent agenda items 5.1 to 5.13.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Wade. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All. Aye. Oh, motion carries 4-0. That's okay. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone that has made gifts, made donations, have contributed to the school district, as stated in one of our, excuse me for not knowing the exact number, 5.10. I want to thank everybody that has contributed to the district. Moving on to information items, 6.1, the 2023-2024 A to F letter grades with Mr. Berkshire.
Good evening, President Anderson, members of the board. I'm excited to share our district and site letter grades tonight. We have much to celebrate with these at each of our sites, and my goal tonight is to share those grades as well as individual celebrations for our sites. Additionally, I'll be showing how our district compares to neighboring districts, as well as how our sites performed compared to charter schools within our boundaries. Our focus tonight is on our strategic anchor 1, teaching and learning and student success. Specifically, we are focused on indicator 1.5, which is supporting a collaborative culture using data and research-based practices. Oops. So we are an A-rated school district. So that is our first celebration of the night. And I think is deserving of applause, Mr. Lautzenheiser. District letter grades are calculated by adding the number of A schools, multiplying by 4, then the number of B schools, multiplying by 3, then dividing by the total number of schools, similar to a GPA. So our district score was a 3.71 out of 4.0. 34% of LEAs in the state of Arizona earned an A, so we're part of a rare group, the top third of the state. 45% earned Bs, 17% Cs, 3% Ds, and less than 1% earned an F as a district. Last year, we were at a 3.86. That was due to us having 12 As and 2 Bs, and you'll see on the next slide, this year we had one school that was a C, which lowered our letter grade percentage just by a little bit. Here you have our comparison to our neighboring districts. When letter grades were first released in 2017, Higley had 6 A's and 7 B's. We continued to improve prior to the pandemic with 12 A's and 1 B in 2019. There was a 2-year hiatus on letter grades due to COVID. When letter grades returned in 2022, we have improved from 8 A's and 5 B's to where you see us today, where we have 11 of our sites that are an A, 2 of our sites are a B, and then 1 site's a C. Want to point out that virtual academies, because we're going to be talking about HVA probably a little bit later, virtual academies, Chandler and Gilbert are both big Bs. Masick and Kyrene have shuttered their AOIs, so they no longer have the virtual schools. Queen Creek is their sole C, and then Scottsdale's D is their virtual academy as well. Some highlights. We want to congratulate Coronado Elementary. They earned the maximum growth score of 50 points, and they also had the top percentage earned in the district for K-8 schools. Williamsfield improved their overall percentage by approximately 6 points. Bridges earned the maximum proficiency score for the third year in a row. That's a total of 30 points, and that's actually capped, so they earn more than that. It just shows up as just 30. Bonus points, 4 of our sites earned the maximum of 5 points in the bonus points category for AZ Sci proficiency and SPED enrollment. Those were Centennial, Chaparral, Cortina, and Power Ranch. Continuous improvement, we had 5 sites that have improved their overall percentage earned every year over the last 3 years. Those were Chaparral, Coronado, Cortina, Power Ranch, and Sossaman. And then chronic absenteeism, we had 8 sites see a continued decrease of chronic absenteeism over the last 2 years in the K-8 model. And those are Centennial, Cooley, Coronado, Cortina, Gateway, HTA, Santan, and Sossaman. Moving into our site letter grades, we're going to start with our K-8 schools. The K-8 model, before I talk about the percentages, I want to remind you that a school's letter grade is kind of like a student's grade. It's a collection of evidence and not based on a single factor. The State Board of Education, when they first adopted the letter grades in 2017, were trying very hard to reflect the overall nature of a school and what the state expects out of a public school, which can be difficult to do when much of what a school does for students can't be numerically quantified. What you see here in the models is their best effort to take those components for which we have solid numbers and represent them in the final calculation for a letter grade. So for K-8 schools, 30% of a score is based on student proficiency on an AASA. 50% is based on student growth from prior state assessment performance to AASA this past spring as compared to like peer students. 10% is based on EL proficiency and growth, and 10% is based on acceleration readiness measures, which include subgroup improvement, chronic absenteeism improvement, special education inclusion, and improving performance in 8th grade math and 3rd grade ELA. There's also the possibility of bonus points, with science providing up to 3% and special education up to 2% additional points for a school. Those bonus points are added in after the overall percentage score is calculated and gives our final score for each site. Additionally, something to keep in mind is that in order to qualify for points in any area, we have to have an N count or a minimum number of students at 10. So for some of these categories, especially EL, we don't have 10 EL students that are full academic students, full academic year students at those sites. So their overall calculation is out of 90 rather than out of 100 points. So moving into our sites, we're going to go alphabetically. Bridges earned an A with 95.47 points. They did not have the minimum N count of 10 FAY EL students, so you'll see that they just have the 3 categories, which totals up to 90, and then they take those the points that they've earned, divide that by 90, that gives a percentage, and then they add the bonus points onto that. I want to emphasize here that Bridges had that perfect proficiency score of 30 out of 30. They also had the highest AZ Sci passing rate for our students at 66% of their kids passing the AZ Sci test in 5th grade. Centennial Elementary earned an A with 91.86 points. They had enough EL students, so they have that EL category in this case. Centennial, one of their celebrations is they've improved the math proficiency of their low socioeconomic students every year over the last 3 years. So they've done a lot of good work with those students. Chaparral earned an A with 91.26 points. They had 13 out of 18 English learners that improved their proficiency level on Azella, which far exceeded the statewide average. So that's very impressive, the work that they've done with their EL students at Chaparral. Cooley earned a B at 76.24 points. One of their celebrations is working with their special education students. They have improved their SPED proficiency from the previous year in both ELA and math. And so they're doing a lot of good work with their special education students. Coronado earned an A with 97.11 points. As I've said, that's the highest percentage in the district. And again, a celebration that they earned a 50 out of 50 on the growth score as well. That's huge. Cortina earned an A with 92.54 points. Cortina is right there behind Bridges. That's their biggest competition. They had the second highest proficiency score in the district, right behind Bridges. So I actually met with their administration today, and they're gunning for Bridges. Gateway Point earned a B with 80.1 point. One of the impressive things that Gateway Point has done is they have improved the math proficiency in 6 out of 7 of the eligible subgroups that they have on their campus. That means that those subgroups had 10 or more kids in that group over the previous year. So that can be very difficult to do because you have a lot of variability in those subgroups, especially when we get down to, there might be 12 one year, that 6th grade group had 5 of them, then they leave, and it's a different group of kids. So that's very impressive, that the work that they're doing with their subgroups, especially in math. Higley Traditional Academy earned an A with 90.97 points. One of their celebrations is with a specific subgroup. Their African American subgroup, they have improved in both ELA and math every year over the last 3 years, which is very impressive. Power Ranch earned an A with 90.87 points. They as well improved their SPED proficiency in both ELA and math over the prior year. So again, a lot of good work happening with that specific subgroup. Santan Elementary earned an A with 92.79 points. Their growth score has improved every year over the last 3 years. So they're doing a lot of great work in pushing kids and really helping them to achieve and move, even if that doesn't necessarily reflect in that proficiency area. And then finally, in our K-8 model, Sauceman earned an A with 85.37. One of their impressive feats is you get points for improving the number of kids highly proficient in math, 8th grade, and decreasing the percentage of kids that are minimally proficient in 8th grade math. And they have done that every year over the last 2 years. Moving into our 9-12 model, 30% of a school's letter grade in 9th through 12th grade is based on proficiency on the ACT and what the state identifies as being proficient. 20% is based on student growth percentiles between ACT and Aspire and the ACT. This is a change from last year. So they've had a little bit of a challenge with ACT. When we came back from COVID, ACT became the state test for 11th grade. 9th graders got ACT Aspire. So this was the first year that we actually had data on students that took ACT Aspire in 9th grade and then took ACT in 11th grade. So that growth score is looking at same peers and how much growth they made between ACT Aspire and ACT. Last year, they were looking at subgroup improvement from the prior year. So in proficiency, graduation rate, and dropout rate. So the scores are a little bit different this year related to growth because we're measuring different things. Whoops. Let me go back. EL proficiency and growth is also 10%, and then school's graduation rate is 20%, and then CCRI, which is the College and Career Readiness Index, is 20%. For 9th through 12, they received bonus points for AZSI performance up to 3 points, SPED enrollment up to 2 points, and ACT Aspire participation up to 3 points. So starting with Higley High School, they earned an A with 91.66 points. Their proficiency score on ACT was in the top 10% of a traditional 9-12 schools in the state. They're actually in the top 9%, but 10% usually is where we like to go. Williamsfield High School earned an A with 97.77 points. As I shared earlier, their overall percentage increase of almost 6% is to be celebrated. That increase is primarily due to what happened with their growth score. In the prior year, because it was calculated different, they had 12 points out of 20 for the growth. This year, you can see they have 18.04 points. And now we get to Higley Virtual Academy. HVA is a hybrid school, meaning that last year it served students in grades 7 through 12. So they get scores on the K-8 side, and they also get scores on the 9-12 side. But they only receive scores if they have the right number of students. So when you're looking at what you see here, the K-8 side, you see a 0 out of 10 on the acceleration readiness. They only had 8 students that qualified for scores on proficiency and growth, and at pretty much everything else, which means those categories, they don't get points for. The only category that they actually had enough students to receive points for was for chronic absenteeism, which is worth 2 points out of that total of 10. And you have to improve that chronic absenteeism. With virtual academies, we track that absenteeism very different than we do with normal students. It's based on hours participating. It gets really messy. But they didn't qualify for that. So about 17% of their overall score is based on that one little piece. The other side, 9-12, we had enough students this year to qualify for most of those categories. We had 15 9th through 12th graders that were full-time, full academic year students at the virtual academy. Remember, the end count is 10, so I had 15 this year. Last year, we had, let's see here, 22 3rd through 8th grade students at HVA. That's where we got all of our points last year. And one of the reasons why HVA was an A last year was because they received a lot of points on that side. We only had 9 11th graders last year, and so we really didn't qualify for any points on the 9th through 12th grade side. A lot of variability with virtual academies because you have small numbers of students, and those small numbers of students can change wildly from year to year. So it's really hard to maintain scores or predict scores with virtual academies. And as I pointed out earlier, Scottsdale's virtual academy was a D this year. Last year, they didn't have enough students to even qualify for a letter grade. So it's hard, but there are a lot of firsts for HVA this year. So this is our first year with proficiency score on ACT. This is their first year with a growth score from ACT Aspire to ACT. Last year, they had enough students to look at 4-year graduation rate. This year we have 4- and 5-year graduation rate, so they qualify for more points in the graduation rate side. And then they improved their CCRI score as well. Again, this is another challenge for virtual academies because half of the calculations for CCRI, you have college readiness indicators, and then you have career readiness indicators, which a lot of those are CTE courses. And our virtual academy doesn't really offer any CTE courses, so the only points that those kids could get were if they were enrolled in one of our brick and mortar schools in a CTE course and then moved into HVA later on. So again, HVA is hard to really qualify for points. Moving on, K-8 charter comparisons. So these are charter schools that are within our boundaries as a district. The dark vertical line on the right marks the division between A and B scores. That second one on the left marks the division between B and everything else underneath that. You'll see that there are some sites that I identify as K-8 because they're hybrid schools. They actually serve K-12. So what I've done is taken out the K-8 side, shown you what their K-8 side score would be. On the next slide, you'll see their 9-12 side. So some examples of those are ALA North, and then let's see here, Learning Foundation and Benjamin Franklin. They serve more than just a 9-12 population, so they get points on this side as well. And then here we have our 9-12 charter comparisons. Again, a lot of our charter schools within our boundaries serve students in more than just 9-12. They're usually 7-12 or K-12 configurations. ASU Prep, I just want to point out, is a very specialized STEM school. Students are encouraged to pay tuition to receive credits at ASU from coursework taken at ASU Prep. They're not really a comprehensive high school like we have at Williamsfield and Higley. They don't have athletics. They don't have other comprehensive programs like we do. So it's not necessarily an apples to oranges comparison. So as you can see, we have a lot to celebrate in Higley. This is a testament to our site and district leadership, our teaching and support staff, our families, and ultimately our students at each and every one of our sites. I'm proud that I've had the honor to share these with you tonight, and I'm excited that the work we have done and continue to do for student learning is something that we can celebrate and recognize each year. And with that, any questions?
President Anderson, I don't have a question so much as for those who aren't necessarily a part of this, to be an A school or even a B school and maintain that grade is really difficult to do. It is so very easy to drop, and it is hard to stay the same and even harder to continue to grow growth. And as we look around, obviously all of us involved in education are like, yes, this is true. But I just don't think that maybe necessarily parents and our community members are always aware of just how those numbers come down and how difficult of a feat that is. So to all of our schools, well done.
Yes, I echo what Ms. Wade said, that this is amazing. One question, because I'm just being a little bit competitive, and so it's just a little, on the 9 through 12 charter comparisons with ALA 9 through 12 in Higley, are we exactly the same? Or are they? It's my own.
Clarify that for me.
So you have a comparison, the 9 through 12 charter comparison chart. Yep, right there. And so, nope, that's not it. Yeah, it is. It is? Okay. And so is it exactly the same? It looks the same. And
so you want to know why we're not above?
Yes. I want to know why we're not above it. Are we exactly the same?
Their score was slightly better than ours.
Okay, fine.
I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it is from score to score. So they were just a little bit.
That's my own issue. Congratulations to Coronado, amazing as well in their growth. I also want to make sure, there was a question by a board member on funding, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that this has nothing to do with funding, because I think if someone on the board was confused about that, maybe the public was confused about that. This has nothing to do with funding, and so I just want to make sure that's clear, especially since there's, the override, and then there's issues with making sure we know where funding comes from. So if there's any questions on that, and that's it. Thank you. Great job.
President Anderson, was this grading system always like this?
The letter grades, as they are currently constituted, were adopted by the State Board of Education in 2017. Prior to that, they used a system, I'm trying to remember the words that they used. It was a very different kind of system. You were an excelling school, you were and the calculations that they were using were very different than what we're using now. So you can't really compare what happened prior to 2017 to what we're using now.
The fact that like an A is from 84 to 100, when for our kids, we grade them 90 to 100 as an A. So it's weird that they would create this grading system that is not even equivalent on how we would grade our students.
I'm happy to address that. So in 2017, when the board adopted the letter grades, the State Department of Education and the Technical Advisory Committee, which are a bunch of nerds that are really, they look at numbers and can dive in, they're called psychometricians. They brought to the board multiple models of what it would look like. One of those models, and they do this every year still, one of those models is a 90, 80, 70, 60. The model that was ultimately adopted was a standard deviation model. So they basically looked to see what percentage of schools would fall in, trying to get kind of a bell curve to start out with. But the goal has been since that time to keep the cut scores the same so that the goalposts aren't moving every year. Because if we use a standard deviation model, then basically every year you have the same percentage of A's, but that cut score that you're trying to achieve will change every year. One of the things they find with the 90, 80, 70, 60, and even with the current makeup, is that schools in high SES areas tend to score in the A and B level. Schools that are Title I tend to score in that C, B, C level. And so the standard deviation model and emphasis on growth and some of those bonus points were all put in place to try to even out and ensure that schools that are doing good work but just don't have the same advantages as other schools are recognized and rewarded for where they are.
Thank you for that. And then if you can just explain, so the overall proficiency rate is, what was that score, the percentage?
For proficiency, it is 30% at,
not per school, but like just overall for the district. Was it like 56?
District proficiency. That doesn't get reflected in the district letter grade. The district letter grade, what they've decided to do at the state board is just do an average of all of the scores of the letter grades of school sites. I can certainly bring that through status, send you what our proficiency level was for ELA and math for the district as a whole.
That'd be great.
I just don't know it off the top of my head.
Great, thank you. And along with the graduation rate, the new graduation rate, because I think the last one was like 96%.
Our graduation rate really hasn't changed, so that's the reason why when you see both Higley High and Williamsfield, they're getting that 20 out of 20. 10 of that is for improving graduation rate. You get that 10 points automatically if you maintain a graduation rate of over 90%. So 10 of those we get automatically. The other side is 4, 5, 6, and 7 year graduation rates. And basically they take your rate and multiply it by a multiplier. So they're weighted, 4 years weighted higher than 7 year. And we exceed the 10 points in that side as well, which is why we're getting the 20 out of 20. Basically, we go from 95, 96 to 98, 99 by the 7 year graduation rate. So our kids that may need a few more years, we do graduate them before and help them move on.
Excuse me, and how does the, like just to understand the math behind like proficiency rates compared to graduation rates, is the graduation rate, does that not count in the proficiency rate?
No.
Okay.
Proficiency is based purely on your scores on AASA or ACT. And so there's a lot of work done at the state level when those tests were introduced. So originally with AZ Merit, there was a meeting at the state level, I got to participate in this, where we basically looked at the assessment and identified what the cut would be for a just barely proficient student. And we went item through item and said, would this item be, where would this fall, that kind of thing. And at the very end, again, people that are much more mathy than me were able to put together, this is what a score would be for a proficient student, what a score would be for highly proficient. And then the last part of that is they threw those numbers up, and as a committee as a whole, we looked to ensure that there was consistency from 3rd to 4th to 5th to 6th to 7th to 8th grade. And at that time, it was 10th grade as well because we had AZ Merit. They did the same thing with ACT in ELA and math. And again, I was lucky I was able to sit in the room, participate in that process. Lots of good dialogue about what proficiency looks like. because ACT, we're using that as a statewide test. Typically, it's a college readiness assessment. As a state, we're using it as a college and career readiness test. So our cut scores for proficiency are lower than what that benchmark score you typically see with ACT is, because we want to ensure that a student that's proficient, it's not necessarily about college, it's also about career. And so lots of dialogue around that, those cut scores. So proficiency encompasses those. Graduation rate is separate.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I think at least for here, you've hit the nerd status and you're pretty mathy, so I appreciate you and all the information you provide. And it's great to ask questions and get really detailed and good information that a lot of us aren't familiar with. I don't have a question. I just wanted to address one of the questions that was brought forward. How can parents and community members contribute to supporting these goals and improving our school performance? And the response was parents and educators should communicate on a regular basis and all that. But is there, I mean, just right now, like, as a teacher, I mean, there's things I'd say, hey, you know, how can we get them involved more? I think this district is pretty great with the opportunities and seeing all the posts online. There's a lot of after school and fun things that go on in the schools. But with the grades, we're doing great. But if there's anything else, if this would be a great time to say, like, how could we involve our community and parents? Now, I don't want to put you on the spot. You don't have to say anything. But if this was a time, this would be great to hear it. But before that, I just wanted to say, before I forget, I just want to thank the students, I want to thank the parents, I want to thank the staff, I want to thank admin, I want to thank community. This is one big group. This is everybody working together, and it's a great job.
In terms of parents, I think every site has communicated with parents about their letter grade status and those celebrations that come with that. The work that our teachers are doing on a daily basis and the learning that we're engaging students in, all of the communication that happens around all of that and the support that families have for our staff in that learning process, those are all huge. And it's hard to quantify one single thing because there's a lot that goes into these. We were at a site today where they were asking, what's that magic bullet? And the reality is there's no magic bullet. It takes a lot of work and hard effort from everybody involved. So it's that communication and partnership between parents and schools. I think that's imperative.
So President Anderson, members of the board, I think we have such great PTOs and site councils, and that's a great way for, you know, parents to get involved, the community to get involved and know what the needs of the school, you know, is. And all of our Higley Helps initiatives that we're doing, that brings the community in, plus our business partner breakfast. Yeah, we absolutely want people to be involved. And I think a lot of schools bring in parents to help do like STEM Day, you know, where they teach about their profession. That's an awesome example. And we could come up with a whole bunch more. But that's one thing about Higley. Our parents are involved and they care. Definitely.
Wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Berkshire.
Thank you very much.
All right. We're going on to 6.2, the 2025-2026 course guide with Mr. Latzenheiser.
President Anderson, members of the board, tonight we're going to talk about the course guide proposal. This is our information item. We'll talk about the changes made to our course guides, and then we will move forward and be able to answer any questions that you have. So within your board packet, we have the presentation, but you also had red line copies the draft of the course guide so that you could see the red line is what we're getting rid of, the blue is what we're adding. And so hopefully you had an opportunity to go through that, because tonight I'm going to touch on some of the different changes that were made and that we are proposing to move forward. So this timeline and process started right when we get back from the start of school. We start August 6th, where we put together our timeline so that we follow these different steps, as you can see listed up there. We review our current courses and information with our Ed Services team. Ed Services team is the district instructional coaches and other directors involved in the Ed Services department. We review it. We also ask for proposals from sites, anything that they want to change or add. They work through their instructional coaches and bring it forward. We do a final review. We did that on October 29th, where we went through all the different proposals that teachers and or the district had proposed to changing courses, adding courses, deleting courses, or changing general information. Tonight, we're bringing the information item to you because what's really important is that action item on December 10th. We have to approve the course guides for the next year on December 10th. Seems a little early, but it's not, because we start registration in January, and we start that process of students selecting their courses in our secondary schools that allow us to then determine staffing, allocations, and where we're going to put it to meet the needs of our students. I'd like to give a shout out to the different people that were involved in this process. Basically what you have up there is a list of our directors and assistant directors within the district office, our instructional coaches. Each site is represented by their principal, as well as their assistant principal and their lead counselor. And so each piece had a different part throughout the entire process, but when we came together for the final review on October 29th, everybody was in the room as we made determinations about the proposals that were moving forward. So we'll jump right into the high school. Honestly, most of our changes come at the high school level. That's by far the biggest book and has the most different things that happen. So I want to highlight a couple of the proposed changes to our general information pages. Those are the pages before the actual course descriptions are listed out. We updated the language about the ACT in our testing section. We wanted to be specific so that if parents looked at it, they knew that the ACT was our mandatory state test for 11th graders and that 9th graders are required to take the ACT Aspire test. As you just heard, we're measured on the growth between their 9th grade and their 11th grade, so we need them to take the test in both so that we can determine our growth. We are proposing removing the HUSD Service Learning Honor for Excellence seal. And an initial thought would be, wow, this is crazy. Why are we removing it? Well, we haven't had anyone apply in the last 4 years for this seal. There is another seal through the state of Arizona. Oh, it's the civics literacy seal, and part of the civics literacy is a really huge component about service learning. And so what we want to do is direct students who have that service learning to the civics literacy seal, and that's something provided through the state, and it's not a Higley local one. We changed the format for the diploma seals to direct families to our website. So here's what happened. In the past, we would list all the requirements for each one of the seals in our course guide, which we approve in December to then get published basically in January for the next year. Then the state would change the requirements. And so by the time you looked at the requirements that were in there, by the time we got to the end of the year, they were different than what was in our course guide. So by giving a description of what the seal is and then directing them to our website, we can constantly keep that updated in case the state turns around and changes the requirements for the seals. And so it kind of condensed that section a little bit. It still gives a description for what the seal is, but it refers us so that in case the state changes any of those requirements, we can keep it up to date and it's not out of date within our course guide. One of the things that we really focused on this year was trying to give parents an opportunity to understand all of the different dual enrollment opportunities we have. I'll be honest, we shine in this opportunity. We're really good at providing dual enrollment opportunities compared to our peers around us, our districts. And so to really emphasize that, when you took a look at the course guide, you saw we had 3 pages of a giant spreadsheet that showed at each high school which courses we offered for dual and then what course and what educational partner and how many credit hours they got. Now, it's all contingent. Within dual enrollment, if a teacher leaves and we can't find a dual enrollment certified teacher to come in and replace them, we can't offer it that year. But we did want to give the parents an opportunity to understand there are so many different dual enrollment courses, not just in our core academics, but through our CTE as well. And we really wanted to highlight that this year within the sections. And so when you take a look, I think there's almost 4 pages that lists all of these different courses. Some of the courses you have to complete both first and second semester to get dual enrollment. Some of them are just semester by semester so that you can get dual enrollment, maybe 3 credit hours first semester and then 3 credit hours second semester. Our major partners are Chandler Gilbert, MCC, and SCC. And finally, there was attendance information that we listed within the general guide. The consensus was, this is also in our handbook. And so we wanted to make sure that the messaging stays the same about attendance, and really attendance other than audit status, which we left in. Attendance does not have an effect on the course guide, and so we're removing it this time, and we're going to focus and have people look at our HUSD handbook, and that's where you'll see attendance information about students' required attendance. So those were the changes that we're bringing forth on the general information. So when we looked at updating course descriptions and/or prerequisites, I listed out the courses, and you were able to find them within the course guide with the red and blue lines looking through it. So these are the courses that we've changed, either a course description. Many times teachers send us course description changes because they're like, hey, the curriculum has changed. We need to update this. What we have in there might have been what was in there 12 years ago. We need to update it for what's currently being taught in the class. And so when you see those, so the course description changes were for Honors Aerospace Engineering, Honors Electrical and Computer Engineering, AP Computer Science Principles, AP Computer Science A, Beginning Ceramics, Intermediate Ceramics, Advanced Ceramics, AP Human Geography, and American Arizona History. All of those, we just updated the course description so when someone reads it, it more accurately aligns with what's being taught in the course. ROTC is a unique program where they basically teach 1 class per year, and they just alternate between 4 classes. So someone who's in there for 4 years gets 4 different classes. And so we just update the schedule. So we move it over 1 and take the one that was last year, and it goes 4 years from now, and that's when it'll be part. So that's the update that you saw there. Honors Bioscience 1, in order for a student to get science credit for bioscience, they have to complete the sequence, meaning they needed to finish Bioscience 1 and Bioscience 2. We had previously listed you could get a science credit for Honors Bioscience 1, and that was incorrect, and so we removed that from there. So they have to complete to get through Honors Bioscience 2 to get a science credit for that course. And then finally, when you took a look at Algebra 2 and Pre-Calculus, what we did is we changed the grade level on those. And the reason we did that is that Algebra 2, typically we removed 9th grade from there because if they're in 9th grade and they're in Algebra 2, they're really in Honors Algebra 2, not on-level Algebra 2. And so same thing with Pre-Calculus, we removed the 9th and 10th grade because if they're in Pre-Calculus in 10th grade, they're in Honors Pre-Calculus, not on-level Pre-Calculus. And so we wanted to clarify that for our students. AP World History, we added 9th graders to make sure 9th graders have that option to move into AP World. We've been making exceptions for that because if kids are really talented in that area and move forward, we just formalize that. Okay, so when it gets to additions or deletions, this is something that'll be new being added to our program, and I'm excited about 3 of the new courses that we're adding this year. First one with our CTE Exercise and Wellness 1 and 2. This falls underneath sports medicine. What this program does, and think about CTE, and we talk about career readiness. Right now in sports medicine, the path that we have, a student who goes through that, typically then to go right into the workplace, they have to go to college and get a degree to become an athletic trainer. And then where we see the career aspect is after they've finished college, going into that field. With the exercise and wellness program, it allows them to get a certificate where they can be a personal trainer and they can immediately go into the workforce. So think about personal trainers at gyms or even people privately doing personal trainers. There's a certificate for that. We've developed a program where these students can work on that skill while in high school, and like many of our CTE programs, get a certificate and be immediately employable once they have that certificate. And so when we talk about that school to work pipeline, that pipeline doesn't wait then for 4 years for them to get through college. They could go immediately into that. And I know at Williams Field, they have really tried and worked hard to develop that underneath the sports medicine, and we'd like to offer that opportunity to allow our kids to work on that certificate. Higley High proposed a unified dance class. If you're not familiar with a unified program and our Best Buddies program, we know it's a wonderful way that our partners and their peers get to work together, and our Best Buddies is a great program. We currently have unified PE. The ask was, can we have unified dance? Because really those students would be in unified PE for 4 years if they wanted to. Could we give them a different opportunity? And we would like to allow them to have a different opportunity to go into a beginning dance class for our students with special needs and their positive peers to be involved in the unified dance. So they'll give them 2 options instead of 1. We added Business Chinese 1 at Williams Field. The goal next year would be to bring Business Chinese 2. This course is an extension after AP Chinese 4, where we have students who've gone through perhaps our DLI program and have gone through Cooley and have gone through Williams Field, and now we're looking for an additional class as a junior, and then we would come back next year and look to add one as a senior. And so that's one of the programs that our instructional specialist, Rebecca Rodriguez, have been working for, and they worked and found some curriculum that will allow us to continue to push those kids within high school for our DLI Mandarin students. And then finally, we had a course in there called World Language TA. So it's been in the book ever since I've been in here, and no one has ever signed up for it because we haven't used it. Okay, I think originally what I was told is back in the day, you had someone who was really good at a world language and they wanted to go help. Maybe they were in AP Spanish 4, they would become a TA in Spanish 1. And really, we have not used this program, so we just wanted to lead it since we're not having that be a part of what's happening. So here's where we have some fee changes that we want to talk to you about, because I think this is an area of concern where we need to make sure that we have appropriate funding to meet the needs of our programs. As you know, costs for everything has increased, and we have not changed these fees for many, many years. Matter of fact, our athletic fee is pre-me, and I'm on year 5. And so we're looking to help support the athletic programs and more by increasing our athletic fee from $150 to $200 per sport, with a maximum of $800 per family per site. Included within, or additionally, we have allowed family passes for students who are attending our games and families to buy this annual family pass where they could buy the pass and they can get into any game all year. It's up to 4 members in the immediate family. It was $135. Well, we've raised ticket prices, but we never raised this. And so the equivalency, in order, again, to help us recoup the costs of running our events and our games, we're asking to increase that to $200. For the single season family pass, that's $100. That would be like, I just picked football, and I only wanted to go to football because maybe my kid picked football, and so the family were able to buy a pass there. And so that's, you'll see the increase from $60 to $100. Parking permits, we know that there's a lot of things that happen within parking, and for us to have the ability to do improvements and or support things that parking related, we're looking to increase that from $80 to $100 for the year. Instrument rentals has always been a tough one because you ask to talk to someone where we rent the instruments, and if it comes back damaged, the $125 and even the $150 is probably not going to cover the cost what it's going to cost to repair the instrument. And so through the rental program, this helps us be able to support, but we do have to supplement if we need to repair equipment that's been returned. And the final fee change that I'd like to look at addresses students who take the ESAs and then want to take a class from us, okay? And we currently don't have anyone in the district doing it, but other districts do. And I put in some interesting wording in there. Basically, an ESA, let's say it's $7,000 right now. If a student wanted to take one of our courses, we provide 6 courses to kids. We will charge them 1/6 of the cost of the ESA because that's what it should be. The reason I put it at that is we don't know if ESAs are going to stay consistent. And so if an ESA, let's say all of a sudden now they get to have $10,000 a year, well, 1/6 of it would be 1/6 of the courses that they would take if they were part of our school, and therefore that would be what we would ask for them. Typically, where our peers have found this out is athletes. They want to participate, they want to come in and do weights. Typically, weights is a class, practice is after school. For them to be able to be on campus during a class time, they have to pay for the class. Now, to participate in athletics, that's the same as the athletic fee that we have. Currently, we don't have anyone doing that within our district, Okay? But if the need arises, this is what we would do, and we would have it in our course guide to be able to charge those fees. So when you take a look at, those were the high school proposed changes. When we looked at the middle school changes, much smaller options and looking at what's happening in the middle school because it's a much smaller course guide. What we're looking to do is we updated ceramics, drawing, and painting names and descriptions to 2D art and 3D art because it more represented, when it says ceramics, they're really creating 3D, and there's a lot of different mediums that they use, and so we wanted to be descriptive of the mediums that they are using. So they proposed 2D and 3D art, and we agreed with that. We updated applied technology and robotic names and descriptions because currently we had advanced applied technology and robotics, and we had it for a year, but yet that was the second year. The first year, we had them split to applied technology and robotics and not combined, and we're asking to combine them. So it's a year-long program, and so the first level would be the applied technology and robotics. The second level would be the advanced applied robotics and applied technology and robotics. The third description was for our ELAS courses. Currently, our ELAS courses are being taught as a block. And so that means the kids are in the same class for 2 hours, and then they have 2 teachers for 2 hours to look at numbers and the commitment financially of doing that. That's a really heavy commitment to be supporting that because really you're looking at taking the number of kids in that class. Because there's 2 teachers for the course load, you would cut it in half. So if they had 40 kids in the class, really our ratio is 20 to 1. If they have 35 kids in the class, our ratio is 17.5 to 1. And so what we felt like when we discussed this with the middle school administrators is in order for us to maximize FTE, if we do not block it, meaning one period they would have the social studies, one period they would have the English, it would help us recoup FTE that we could continue to use to lower class sizes everywhere else. And so we're looking to change that. Instead of being a blocked program, it will now be still a concurrent enrolled program. Teachers will work together, but they won't have 2 teachers in the classroom for 2 hours. And that's the changes that would come through for ELAS. When we go through to HVA, and here's one that there was a question right away, like why are we no longer going to offer the middle school? It goes back to numbers and being fiscally responsible. Right now, we have 11 students in our middle school online, and it costs more than the money that we get in order to be able to service those students. The number of full-time online has continued to steadily decline the further we have gotten away from COVID. In fact, currently, right now, we have no 9th graders that are 100% online. The largest class that we do have at the high school level is our seniors. We have 28 seniors, but if we have 0 freshmen, as that starts to matriculate up, it's going to become smaller and smaller for online. And so our goal right now is to remove the middle school from it. And so we will continue to offer the high school online. We are exploring options right now of what does it look like if we took HVA and it became a program and not a school. And with that, we would still offer online classes because we have 730 kids who take at least one online course through us. That's a lot. That's meeting a need for those kids and those families. However, you just heard how letter grades fluctuate so much. So if there's an opportunity through us, through the instructional time model, where we can have kids be instead of a full-time online HVA kid, a full-time Higley kid, and we could still offer them online, or a full-time Williamsfield, we can still offer the courses online, but it would be a program and not a separate school. We're exploring that option, and we'll bring it back to the board with more information as we get closer to that time in order to declare if we're going to keep the HOI or not. Or sorry, AOI, not HOI. So I threw a whole lot of words and stuff in there, and I know you guys have got some questions for me. So once again, this is our information item tonight. Love to answer your questions, but when we come back on December 10th, that's really when we do have that action item because we need to be ready for our enrollment and registration process that happens in January.
President Anderson, for the high school course guide, the multicultural course, and obviously this course has been, an issue recently due to the books, and just reading through the description of the course guide, where is this description coming from, the college, or do we have the ability to change the description? The reason why I ask is because I think it would, just as an informed consent ahead of time, to include in there, it talks about literature comes from authors of both genders and all ethnicities. But I think it would be great to be able to add that, explicit content, including, books related to graphic sex, sodomy, rape, bestiality, critical race theory, just so parents know this information ahead of time, so that they can then make a decision of signing up for the course instead of not knowing this and then signing up for the course, and then after the fact, when they find out what books are on the syllabus, then they're possibly trying to either move out of the class, or now they're having to deal with parental consent forms and the kids are being sent out of class. So I think it's important to be able to add that to the description, so that parents are notified ahead of time, so that they can make a decision of not picking that class if they oppose to such material. Another oh gosh, sorry, I lost my notes. I'll have to come back to it. I discussed this last year for our special ed communication skills, the fact that we utilize CASEL. I personally oppose anything related to CASEL just based on just their concepts that they use. I don't agree with. And so I don't know if there's any other form of, when we have kiddos that need any type of social emotional assistance, that first it's individualized and not implemented across the board, and that it's done with parental consent. Obviously, if there's IEPs involved and 504s, that would be included if the student requires that type of service. But I don't know if there's another type that we can utilize other than CASEL. And then for the fees, you said they haven't changed since when?
I don't know exactly when it was adopted. When I talked to my athletic directors, I want to say it was prior. I'm 2020, so it was prior to me.
Okay. And then the fees are the same for middle school?
The middle school, we've looked at how we're budgeting for the middle school and talking to the principals. We wanted to keep that one the same for this year, and then we'll evaluate as we go forward and perhaps look for increasing it next year. But no, the fees for for an athletic team at middle school is not $200.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
no,
then
it's less. The middle school sports are only a quarter, right? High schools are much, much longer.
Right, yeah, and then just to watch the games, I don't remember ever paying to go to watch games for middle school.
No, we don't for middle school.
Okay.
We don't charge. So that when you look at the family passes and things like that, that's only for the high school. That's where we only charge entry.
Perfect. Thank you. And then for the instruments, how often are the instruments rented versus students bringing their own?
I don't have that answer, but I can ask and see what our number is and give that to you in status. I don't know how many.
Okay. Thank you. And then I just want to say, you know, I appreciate being able to allow ESA students to participate in our sports. That's definitely, you know, a form of revenue for the district, but also, you know, being able to help these kiddos out to participate in any type of sporting events or, you know, sports. So I do appreciate that we're allowing them to do so. Thank you.
President Anderson. I have a question. So you had mentioned on the pre-calc course, and I believe Algebra 2, I only put pre-calc, you said that they're now, I guess they've always been honors courses, but they weren't listed as that, or now they're honors
We
courses?
have both. We have on-level pre-calc and we have honors pre-calc.
Okay.
Prior to this, for on-level pre-calc, it said it was optional for 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. But in reality, if you're a 10th grader who's gotten to the pre-calc level, you're in that honors track and you're at honors pre-calc. And so we just wanted to make sure that parents understood and students understood that when you get to the regular pre-calculus, that's typically our juniors and our seniors who take pre-calc.
Okay, so they were already weighted the same as far as honors, like they were already getting that honors?
There's an honors class, and I'm only addressing the on-level courses.
Okay.
And I'm just removing those bottom two, 9th grade for Algebra 2 and 10th grade for pre-calculus. So
Okay.
if you're a typical on-level student who comes in, you take Algebra 1, then you take Geometry, Algebra 2, and pre-calculus. That's a typical, like the most standard math, 4-year math track that we have.
Okay.
And so what the teachers asked for is, why would we say that as a 9th grader you could take just on-level Algebra 2? If you're a 9th grader and you're that advanced in math, you're going to be taking the honors Algebra 2. And
Okay, thank you.
so I just changed
Thank
the
you for
grade.
clarifying. I just
Yeah.
think I was not clear on that. It's kind of a strange question, but maybe it's stupid, I don't know, but dual teachers, dual language certified teacher, dual enrollment, excuse me, teachers, certified teachers. You mentioned if a teacher leaves and someone doesn't come back. If it's the middle of the semester and say a teacher leaves, do those kids then not get credit for that class?
We work with the institution.
Okay.
And what we can do to make sure, unfortunately, sometimes the answer is, they can't do it. If we can't find a sub that can come in and help qualify that, sometimes we have additional other members of the department that might help pick that up and help support them through the dual, and we work with our partner. We want to provide that opportunity for the kids as much as possible.
So then would they, I don't know that this happens very often. I guess I'm just trying to clarify. Then would they lose that money then they paid for the dual enrollment too?
I can't answer that.
Okay.
We haven't had that in a while.
Okay.
And when I talk about them leaving, I'm more talking about the end of the year. So if we had gone
No,
through
I
and-
know. That just
Okay.
occurred to me when you said they were leaving. I get that it's the end of the year. I just thought, oh, what if we lose a teacher? Do the kids lose out on the dual enrollment? That was my question. I love that you added the unified dance and the business language, Chinese, it sounds like, are great to me too. And updated, and the ESA fees that we're charging for that. So I think that's all I have. I had another question, but I'll wait until after Ms. Wade asks her question.
President Anderson, could you clarify for me, just to make sure I'm understanding? I mean, it has been quite a minute since I've had to write a description for a course that I teach for an updated course guide. The information that we would put in there for our classes would be an overview of the classes, less specific, and part of that reason is kind of on what Board Member Schultz brought up, in that sometimes we have different teachers teach it from year to year, and so this way we don't have to continue to update the course guide if there are specific things that still meet the course. So for example, some of our dual enrollment electives or our AP electives are decided by other things, and as the teacher, I get to decide which of these books or which of these things I'm going to be using. And so I would assume that as we progress and we look at some of the courses that we have in there, we keep them as Not necessarily overwhelmingly specific. The idea I'm trying to address is essentially Board Member Van Hook's concern, so I can understand when we go through on the 10th what works best for us. The idea of being super specific in a course guide is not usually what we do because it's overview. A lot of times if there is a student who has those questions or parents who have those questions, because of the way we sign up for kids and all of that, and they have time, a lot of the time it's the parents who then can contact counseling or the teachers to get the kind of information that Ms. Van Hook was concerned about specifically. Am I correct in understanding our goal and how we write the course guide for that?
We try to keep it a kind of a 10,000-foot view, yes, so that we have some opportunities so they understand the general themes. I mean, we're distilling it down to 2 or 3 sentences, what's going on there, and then as we get into the class, I think that any time that we have a parent or someone who wants to know what the syllabus of the class that they're signing up for, absolutely work with the counselor so that you have that opportunity to see that.
Thank you.
President Anderson. Obviously, there's parents who read the basic description and didn't realize that there would be sexually explicit books assigned to their kids. So adding something in there to say that is a possibility, because otherwise how is a parent supposed to know to be able to go ask that question? Every parent's just gonna have to call and go, hey, is there sexually explicit stuff in here? No. So as information ahead of time to let them know that this could be a possibility. One teacher might choose books that don't contain this information, and another teacher can. Obviously, that's where we're at. So it wouldn't hurt to let parents know ahead of time so that they can decide whether they're going to sign their child up for this class or not. The other concern I had is I know currently there's at least a couple students that are in this class who have no other option they've taken all the English classes they could possibly take, so this is the only class that they're able to take in order to graduate. We
do have some flexibility there, and for each one of those people that came forward, we did provide options, and there was a choice for the two, and one decided to stay in and one decided to not. And one of the things I think I skipped on there is when we looked at pathways and things like that, we added some verbiage to say pathways are suggestions. They're not mandatory and they're not required. And so what we do is we try to help parents who I look at course guides a lot. Parents probably don't look at course guides a lot, right? And so what's easiest for them to understand some sequencing and possible things. But we always have opportunities to change to different pathways or to different courses, and they can work with their counselors to be able to do that.
So when parents are signing their kids up for classes, what is sent to them? Are they receiving a course guide, or
There's
is
links
it?
to the course guide, and this year we're actually really working hard to do online registration, and so we'll be sending things out to the parents and the kids where they, through the synergy and through the parent view and the student view, they can go in and select their courses from there. We're working through the process of either one or two things would happen so that parents get that oversight to know what their kids have signed up for. One is there's a way that we can lock it through parent view. And so the parents then can have access and say, hey, here's the courses. Yes, I agree with that. They click a button and it locks it in, and that's their course request. The other way is we can do an audit where we do a mail merge, where it's kind of old school. We would get a printout and kind of the old parent signature at the bottom. Hey, here's what you signed up for. Take it home, get your parent to sign up so that they understand what you're signing up for, and then come back and we can have that documentation. So there's two different ways we want to make sure that parents are communicated with about what the courses their students are signing up for. Our course guides are on our website. We'll put them up there as soon as we get the approval for next year, and to put it up there, and then those links will be included when the communication goes out about registration.
Okay. Yeah, I would like for parents to be able to have informed consent ahead of time. That's all I'm asking, and then we avoid any future issues that we've recently been dealing with. Thank you.
President Anderson, something to at least remind the community of, and I think considering the fact the way we had board meetings this past August about this specific course in general, parents get informed consent. So for parents, if you are concerned when you hear this information, which I think is fair and is valid because we all have what is good for our home and what we feel is best, at the start of your kids' semester for all of these books that there could be, or even topics that have this, we give out parental consent. And we updated this summer those specific parental consent forms with more detailed information. So these things are here, they're part of our practice, and it's part of the reason that this book became an issue in general, because we had, as we've expressed, some parents who were not necessarily thrilled about it, and those parents decided for those kids what was best, whether that is to go to a different class that was an option or stay there. I hear your concerns. I also think it is important for parents to take responsibility of what their role is with some of that. We are asking so very much of our staff and our schools with respect to information. And if we put too much information, then we're guilty of, well, there was too much and I didn't know. Either way, there is going to be that opportunity. So steps we take as a district-wide practice is that should there be a content area that is something that might have an issue for individuals, that info is sent home to parents so they can make that informed consent. So it is there, it happens. I recognize it's not necessarily in the manner with which Board Member Van Hook would like at this current moment, but I do think it is important for our community to recognize that that does exist. As a teacher who had to collect those papers, I am so grateful that we're moving that to online. Just, a delight. So for all of those teachers who had to spend forever trying to make sure kids brought those papers home with that lovely signature, the online option. Also, as a parent who is ADHD, the online option sounds fantastic. So thanks for that.
President Anderson, I have a question. So you talked about the HVA program, or changing it to a program. Is that something for the year after next that you're thinking about? I mean, I know you don't have a crystal ball or anything, but I'm just wondering if that's something.
We would actually look at implementing it
next
for
year?
next year.
Oh, okay.
And please understand we're exploring this option.
Sure.
And we have not made that decision yet, but the option would be, we're still providing the opportunities for our students. We have no change in service.
Absolutely.
It would just be that instead of being an HVA kid, if you lived in Williamsfield boundaries, you'd be a Williamsfield kid. You would graduate at Williamsfield, so we wouldn't have a separate graduation, or we wouldn't have a separate anything like that. And so when you look at testing, state testing, and you have these small numbers, those full-time online students would be then included within the entire high school, and for either of them. And so now if we're talking, maybe we only have 10 kids, well, 5 might be Williamsfield kids, 5 might be Higley High kids, and now they get included in those counts, and we don't have to worry about, hey, we don't have enough kids to even qualify to be able to earn the points to be able to move forward. And that's why you've seen 2 of the districts, you mentioned 2 of the districts already went away from their AOIs and have supported it differently through their local schools. And so that's what we're trying to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row before we come back formally to you to say this is how we'd like to move.
No, that sounds great to me, especially as we're facing different decisions with funding right now that we need to look at. So sounds like a great use of funds, and thank you.
Regarding the additional language for the class, just to be a little more informative. I listened to both sides, and I think that there's great information brought. Could we not, I understand being proactive and informing parents and guardians prior to signing up for the class, and I understand we don't want to sit there and spell it out, and then do we need to be explicit in the language that we use? No, but could we put something in there to say this may require a permission slip or whatever. What is the word? Is it a permission slip? Consent. God. Consent form for some of the material that will be brought forward for reading. Can we not just put an asterisk or just a quick line? We don't have to be detailed of what they may be reading, but can we just say, hey, there may be material that would require
As I'm processing this now, I think we have permission slips that are required in a lot of classes. But when we get into the dual enrollment aspect and the understanding that people are taking college level courses that might contain college level material that might require then permission slips, then perhaps the line goes in with the dual enrollment part. It says if you're taking a dual enrollment class, please understand that these are college courses. And that's just what I'm thinking about. So.
I just don't understand putting the stop on just informing parents. That's my thing. Teaching science classes, teaching biology, what I had in biology back in my day is not the same.
No, it's not.
We don't dissect anymore. What's up with that, right?
Save
That's wild,
those frogs.
right? And so hasn't been brought up now, but I mean, we cover topics that are hot topics. There are things that are being concerned that hit with, some religious concerns, and parents just don't know what's in the class. They just assume it's what they experience. So I don't see a problem with just adding a line to just say, hey. So I'm just saying that I would support just a small little bit of language. It doesn't have to be explicit. And if you do it for other classes, or these consent forms are involved in other classes, it's also because of mature content in books?
Yeah, we have some of our AP courses, and you'll look at our approved list. When you look at our novel list, that lists any of the novels that are being used that will require prior parental consent.
Mm-hmm.
And I know AP, when you look at our AP English courses, they have some of those that AP says, hey, you need to be able to do this. These are the books that we're using, and we'll give consent for that as well.
And there's no language for those at all. It's just known that they're going to be
Correct.
sent home. Okay. All right. I'll stop at that point, but my questions were regarding the fees, the proposed fee changes. Can you hit on some of the topics for some of the areas where the fees are changing? What exactly is increasing on this end to cause the increase for the families on their end? Like what is pushing those increases?
Yeah, so when you're looking at the athletic fee increase, I think the cost of running an athletic program, whether it's equipment, whether it's transportation, those things, whether it's how we can support our workers, game workers, and different things, all of those things tie in together specifically to looking at the increased fees. The amount that we supplement and do through transportation or through, we split this fee up and the coaches can turn around and buy equipment from it. The cost of equipment has increased tremendously since 2020, no less, even longer than that. And so then where do those additional fees come from? We supplement and we support athletics through district budgets. And I know when we're talking budgets and we're talking money in districts, I don't ever want to step on Mr. Moore's toes talking about that. But I know that we're getting into situations where perhaps our M&O and our capital budgets are not going to be as big as they used to be because we know we did not pass an override or a bond.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask to put it out in public for parents that are listening, because they'll question, it's going up a lot of money, everything else is going up. I want them to have understanding, but also I'll lead to my next question. Is there any assistance for families that can't afford these fee changes? Because I don't want kids to miss out on opportunities.
And anytime we have a family now or that has an issue, yes, there is a process where they work through the bookstore and they work through the principal where we can waive fees. Absolutely. We look at students and families' situations. I know students on free and reduced lunch. As they go through, we provide additional supports for them as well. And that gets a little tricky because we don't turn around and add the amount into the bucket. We just don't include it at all. And so, but yes, there are opportunities for families who are struggling. We don't ever want money to be the reason why they don't want to participate in one of our programs.
Excellent. I just want to make sure that got out there for the public. Thank you.
President Anderson, not to beat a dead horse, just a final comment is the current state of the consent form is after the fact, and I'm just asking that it be ahead of time, so then we're not worried about transferring classes and all that stuff. That's all. Thank you.
President Anderson, I just want to add, any course at any time that a parent objects or wants an alternate assignment, book, whatever, we work to accommodate that. And we even have some younger kids getting parental permission for novels or whatever. So I'm just sitting here thinking it is a global practice to ensure, if parents want something else done, we work to accommodate. So I think we can discuss as ed services and what that looks like, an update and status or whatever. So, because I assume parents all know that and they may not, so. They know they love Higley, I know that.
Yeah, and
Right?
I know that you all try to accommodate everyone, so I appreciate that. Anybody else for this? No. Thank you, Mr. Lessnider, I appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to, I need new glasses. Thank you. 6.3, the community schools update with Mr. Armstrong.
President Anderson, members of the board, tonight we are highlighting our ECDC program as well as our community ed programs. And I'm going to ask Miss Amy Coaches and Marsha Hofstadter to go ahead and come up to the podium. They're going to highlight their wonderful preschool program that is absolutely amazing. And the efforts of these two wonderful administrators is really going in deep to their programs this year, and I want to thank them. So you're going to hear highlights, and you're also going to hear a proposal for a fee proposal for the upcoming school year as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mrs. Coaches and Mrs. Hofstadter.
Thank you so much. Good evening, board members, administrators, staff, and families. My name is Amy Coaches. I'm the director, very proud director of the Early Child Development Centers. This is Marsha Hofstadter. She's our assistant director. Let me begin by first reading our mission statement. Our certified early childhood educators and staff inspire curiosity, build problem-solving skills, self-esteem, and foster a love for learning in our young children within a nurturing and play-based environment. We're excited to share a little bit about our preschool program and the incredible work that our staff does daily. At the heart of what we do is our commitment to nurturing young students. Our certified early childhood staff are passionate about inspiring curiosity among those students. We believe that building self-esteem, fostering a love for learning are just as important as their academic skills. That's why we create a supportive, play-based environment where children feel safe, valued, and they're very eager to learn. It's truly a joy to watch our students thrive and develop in such a positive, engaging atmosphere. We're proud of the foundation we're building for their future success, and it's all thanks to the dedication of our amazing community, our families, and our staff. I'm going to share a little bit about our unique program offerings, as you can see up on the screen. Our Mandarin program. Our Mandarin program is located at our Cooley campus. Students in the program receive Mandarin for part of the day and English the other part of the day. This program feeds into our Mandarin program at Coronado. We have our Spanish dual language program that's located at our Sauceman campus. Students in the program receive Spanish for part of the day and English for the other part of the day. And this will feed into our Spanish immersion program at Santan Elementary. We have our Think program, our Highly Gifted Academy. This is located at our Sauceman campus. This program will feed into our Bridges Elementary School. This program provides personalized instruction to actively engage exceptional learners in an innovative thinking environment that fosters creative thinking. Talk a little bit about our conscious discipline. We have the incredible opportunity to provide workshops to not only our staff, but to our families within the district. So we have those here at the board office quite often. Conscious discipline was created and developed by Dr. Becky Bailey. It's a social emotional program that teaches children how to regulate, manage their emotions in order to make safe and healthy choices. You can think about it as discipline, not as something that you're doing to children, but something you develop within them. The goal is to teach students how to respond instead of reacting to situations throughout our day within the school. Another piece that I wanted to speak about is our AZ First Things First, Quality First program. Quality First is a program that helps providers throughout the state improve the quality of their programs. They provide coaching for our staff, professional development. They support us financially through scholarships for our students, materials that they provide for us. And then we have an opportunity for assessors to come on both of our sites and really give feedback and provide feedback to us as directors as well as to our staff regarding our classroom environment, as well as our staff interactions with students daily. We have our CTE early childhood programs. This is both at Cooley and Sossaman. This incredible program provides opportunities for high school students both from Higley and Williamsfield to spend time with our incredible staff at our campuses. They engage in hands-on experiences with students and staff to develop skills to prepare them to enter early childhood in that career. We have our middle school TAs that is currently at Sossaman. Middle school students are able to take electives. They get to walk right next door, which is really great, and share time with our students and our staff. And this opportunity also helps them to develop skills for career in the future in early childhood education. A little bit about our special education services and our on-site evaluations. We're extremely lucky. We have an incredible team. Students can be referred by staff and families with concerns with students with developmental delays. Eligible students then can receive services through our case managers, speech pathologists, occupational therapists, and physical therapists. I get the opportunity to speak about ECDC through the years. Over 10,000 students have gone through both Cooley and Sossaman since the beginning in 2013. Over 2,100 special needs students have attended both of our campuses. Historically, with our retention of students enrolled in our HUSD kindergarten, over 76% of our students. A little bit about our Brilliant Beginnings and our kinder prep. Those full day and AM classes, they have the highest enrollment historically for us. A little bit about our BB program, Brilliant Beginnings, and our kinder prep. Our Brilliant Beginning program is for students that are aged threes and fours. Focuses on social emotional, friendships, relationships, taking turns, caring and sharing. Early exposure to words and phrases, beginning sounds, counting to 10, number recognition, and name recognition. Our kinder prep program, students that are 4 and 5-year-olds, focuses on preparing students for kindergarten, hopefully to continue on in Higley. Science through investigation, letters, letter sounds, left to right, writing and reading, identifying numbers to 10, handwriting exposure for uppercase and lowercase letters, and then exposure to word families, sight words, and counting above 10, and starting those addition skills as well. He's trying to go through. Almost there. All right, so for ECDC, so currently, right now, we have 530 tuition students between our Cooley and Sossaman campuses. 169 of those are our special education students. So that's a total of 699 students, and still counting because we add them daily as they turn 3. Our staffing involves 33 certified, incredible certified staff, 61 classified staff, again, an incredible evaluation team, 14 preschool and eval team. That includes our speech, our OT, our PT, and our VI. So we're extremely, extremely lucky. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share a little bit about our program.
Yeah. So as you can see up here, this is our kinder prep full day comparisons to our neighboring districts. Currently, every one of us has certified teachers within our classrooms. The monthly tuition currently is $750, and you can see it's 5 days a week, 7 hours a day. Moving into the new school year, we are asking, and this proposal is coming tonight as an information item, and then we will be asking for consent come December in our next meeting. We're going to be asking to increase our full day kinder prep program to $800 from the $750. Gilbert and Queen Creek will also be looking at an increase for the upcoming school year as well. And so it'll keep us right around where our true neighboring districts are. Our kinder prep half day, that is up as well. Chandler does not have a half day program, but our district, Gilbert Public and Queen Creek Unified, all have half days. They're identical. For the upcoming school year, we are also asking that we increase tuition from $400 to $450. A lot of these increases are being asked in terms of completely having the program running sustainably, if that makes sense. We want to ensure that we can continue to offer the outstanding program they are offering, as well as potentially offering new ideas into the program. Currently, we do need assistance with that, and this rate increase will go ahead and help us there. That is our ECDC program. Do you guys have any questions?
President Anderson, I have a question. Right now, Queen Creek shows 800 currently. Correct? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
805.
Is there not a reason why we don't make it the same across the board? I mean, I know that we've had in the past, we used to have a deficit as far as the preschool program goes. Now we're even, correct? We're almost, barely, if not.
Mr. Moore.
Not to put you on the spot. I'm sorry, Mr. Moore.
President and Chair, Member Schultz, the preschool program is operating in the black. So
they are, okay.
Yeah. When I first got on board, yeah, they were in a deficit. Part of the reason we kept all the staff on during COVID when we weren't having kids, so it was an intentional decision, but we've worked our way out of that, and then handing it over to Amy and their team, they've continued that trend. A part of these fees are to help continue to push this preschool program forward. And then to Ms. Van Hook's point, previously when I presented the AFR, to help supplement the district potentially with some of the revenues to help offset some district expenses or put that money back into the program. So,
thank you. So I guess, is there a reason why we wouldn't make it the same? Or I know with Queen Creek being at 805 right now, what are they going to ask for? If we're asking for 800, we don't know that. We don't know. But
are you asking?
Since we're answering this.
Are you asking why we just don't keep it even compared to everyone else? Mm-hmm. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
I think for us, it's an individual base. It's for our district, and I think that with what we want to do, we're going to get there. And I don't know the dollar amount, but I know that they're gonna go higher than we are, or should go higher than we are, and so we'll still be relatively low compared to others.
Perfect. I love this program. I think it's a great program and all the different offerings that we have. And both my girls went through it lots of years ago or several years ago. So thank you very much.
President Anderson, the 169 special ed students, so they don't pay a tuition?
So that is correct. There are, I don't know if Shauna can help with this aspect as well. But so there are students that are gen ed students do pay the tuition. Our special education, there are portions, if not all, that is covered. So they do not pay that tuition.
And who covers that?
Board Member Van Hook, we are required by law to provide special education free of charge to our preschool families. So they are not charged a tuition. For our families that choose to go into some of our other programs above and beyond the services that we offer in the preschool, we are responsible to pay that tuition as well. So, for example, if I have a student that is going into a gen ed classroom to receive their services because that's the least restrictive, we will pick up the portion of the tuition in which they're receiving their services. Once the family chooses to keep the student in there for a longer period of time, the family is then responsible for the additional portion.
Got it. Thank you. And then are we concerned at all that enrollment from 1,200 will go down due to the increase?
No. Actually, our goal, since both Marcia and I have been here, is to increase enrollment. So we have big ideas and big plans that we're hoping to implement.
Okay.
Yeah, that number that we have with what we're offering at our preschools is drastically different than surrounding programs. We're going to be still with that $800 increase and that $450 increase. There are programs around us that are charging $1,300 a month, and they don't have certified teachers teaching them academics as well. And so what their program is offering and what Marcia and Amy have planned is to continue to focus in on the whole child, as every preschool does, but really start identifying. Their teachers are asking for more academic components, and what they have is just unbelievable. And we're going to be significantly lower than other organizations surrounding us.
Thank you.
I have one question. You mentioned that Sossaman had the TAs. I know that Cooley used to have the TAs. Is that not happening anymore?
So that's in process, we're hoping.
Why did it go away?
My understanding is when COVID happened, they had just went away, and so we've actually been speaking with the counselor about potentially bringing that back in the future.
Okay, perfect.
It's an incredible opportunity for those
Yes,
students.
absolutely. It's a great program. And just to echo what Mr. Armstrong said, we do offer so much more than surrounding preschools, and the kids are able to excel. I've seen it firsthand and how well they can be ready for kindergarten through your program. So, and all the amazing teachers that are molding those little kids' minds. So thank you.
I do, before Amy and Marcia leave, I would like to let them tell you Quality First came down, did their assessment, and if you would like to share what you guys received for this year.
Sure. So both of our schools are going through the process. We just finished at Sossaman, but our Cooley school, we learned yesterday actually, that we have received our 3-star rating so for this year. So we're really excited about that. So it's a big celebration.
That Quality First is not an easy task for our teachers or administrators. It is very rigorous and very intentional per se, and that's great. So kudos.
And those
great
preschool
job.
teachers might be a little bit of overachievers, so but they do an incredible job. We're very proud.
All right. And that concludes ECDC, so thank you very much.
Thank you all so much.
All right, I'm gonna ask Ms. Kim Ohanian to come on up. She's gonna highlight community education and some of the things that she has planned or that they've done this year and she has planned moving into next school year.
Are you gonna control the clicker? Okay. No, I'm not ready, go back. Good evening, President Anderson, members of the board, and cabinet members. Thank you for your continuous support and leadership in our district. I'm Kimberly Ohanian, your Community Ed Assistant Director, and this presentation is to inform the board and community members on a short update on our programming. So Kids Club is an all-inclusive out-of-school program dedicated to providing a nurturing environment where children can thrive physically, socially, and academically. Our program offers a wide array of activities designed to engage and inspire children of all ages. Kids Club is offered at the Higley Elementary Schools and our preschools. Our operating hours cater to the needs of our busy families, with mornings starting at 6:30 a.m., the afternoons starting at dismissal, and are available throughout the week until 6 p.m. Whether it's before school, after school, or during an early release day, Kids Club provides flexible scheduling and options to accommodate a variety of family schedules. So shown here are some of our fun activities that we've done throughout this year at several of our sites. Our amazing staff is there to welcome your child in the Kids Club family where they can learn, play, and grow in a supportive, nurturing environment. Kids Club, the safety and the well-being of your child are our top priorities, and our staff consists of caring, attentive adults who undergo through vetting process, including background checks, fingerprinting, to ensure a secure environment for all participants. To align with our strategic anchor 2, our highly effective personnel, we have established a climate and culture that sustains excellence and retains high quality of employees. All of our employees start at our training site for a week, and each of our staff averages about 30+ hours of professional development training throughout the year. We have 130 active employees, and 42 of them are our high school students. These student workers are super crucial to our Kids Club family. Additionally, during school breaks, Kids Club transforms into an exciting experience for children ages 3 to 12. Our in-session activities may include immersive field trips, themed days, and hands-on STEM learning stations, and much more. Ensuring that children have a memorable and educational break from school, a part of our inter-sessions, we create themed names for student groups. So during this fall, we had our Bubblegum Buddies, Cotton Candy Crew, Pop Rockers, just to name a few. Our fall inter-session, we went on a field trip to Sierra Candy Factory for a behind-the-scenes tour, and our Candytopia themed was hosted at Coronado Elementary with almost 300 students per day. In one of our themed rooms, the Cotton Candy Corner, this was a arts and crafts. So just imagine that bright, inviting arts and crafts room filled with candy creativity. I did bring one of the examples that we did make, which was our marshmallow pops. So all of the students made one of these, and they're all handmade through clay, and then we used beads on the top for their sprinkles. These activities and events change each camp, and we do not repeat an activity all year round. So over the summer, we partnered with the Diamondbacks on ticket sales. So thank you to our family in helping us raise $810. Our winter intercession is right around the corner, starting on December 20th. This will be hosted at Centennial Elementary, and registration is now live. Our after-school enrichment programs. These are lively and engaging spaces where students can explore new interests and enhance their skills beyond the regular curriculum. Since 2021, we've offered 123 enrichment classes with 6,050 enrollments. Some of these unique courses that we do have this year, we got to introduce Braille, Mandarin, and sign language. We also started our Kinder Kickstart, which started this summer. Thank you to Melissa Garland, Assistant Director of Program Compliance. Her and I did love doing this project, giving our new kinders a sneak peek in the day of the life of kindergarten. This 4-day program showed new kinders what to look forward to. We had 70 little leaders, and we were excited to watch them grow. At Higley, we do have that Braille course this year and other several Mandarin, Builders Clubs, Creative Club, yoga, and much more. We also do partner with outside vendors as well in these after-school programming, so thank you to Elements Music, Science Matters, Bricks for Kids, Chess Emporium, Stephen Hunter's Skill Academy, Sport Ball, TGA, Young Rembrandts, Dance Sequence, Athletes in Training, and Challenge Island for your support. These programs often include physical activities like dance class or sports practice, encouraging teamwork and fitness. With a mix of our structural lessons and free exploration, these programs aim to ignite curiosity, build confidence, and help students discover a passion with new supportive fun. Our Higley Youth Sports League is a recreational sports league for kinder through 6th grade. We offer soccer, volleyball, basketball, flag football, and cheer. So far this year in Higley Sports League, we have 546 registrations in these programs. When we do return from winter break, we are adding volleyball for 7th and 8th graders. So look for that registration link as well. Lastly, we are excited to introduce our newly branded program where kids can dive into a world of fun, creativity, and friendship. Here at the Higley Hangout, we are committed to providing a safe and engaging environment where a child can explore new interests, build lasting friendships, and enjoy a memorable experience. Join us as we embark on this exciting new chapter together and start looking for our new logo starting January 6th. So thank you, President Anderson and members of the board.
All right. As I said, we're going to be coming to you with proposals, rate increases. This is our Kids Club program in comparison to other districts, our same neighboring districts. As you can see, we have our registration rate, which is the same or lower than others, our daily AM and PM rate, our early release day rate, and our intersession rate for each of those districts. The ones with an asterisk, Queen Creek and GPS, are looking at an increase for the upcoming year as well. Now, with our community education program, this is where we're asking you, and again, we're gonna ask for the rate increase tonight, and then come December, we'll go ahead and have approval on that, or you guys will vote on that. But the AM rate, we're looking to go from $11.50 to $13.50. PM rate will go from $16.50 to $18.50, and our Wednesday half-day will go from $20 to $22. The intercession rates will go $45 to $50. That last column is what the employee rate for the upcoming school year would be, and in terms of what the current rate or what the general public rate is as well.
Any questions or comments?
Questions or comments?
President Anderson, what is the current rate? The employee rate?
The current employee rate?
Yes.
The current employee rate is 75% off of our general rate.
Sorry. On slide 17, I think that's what we're on. So compared to what, so 1080 here for the AM only. So what is the current rate? And it's changing to 1080?
The rate change to next year will be 1080, yes.
Okay, and the current rate is what, I'm sorry?
Is 75% off of our current rate, which is going to be off of our current, so off of 1150, it's in the morning.
President Anderson, remember, Van Hook, sorry. The current employee discount is 75%. We're proposing to go to 20% discount. And then the math is obviously up there, but out of, in talking with our auditors and reviewing some of our IRS guidelines, we are out of compliance with the IRS in terms of offering employee discounts. If we offer a program to the public, we cannot offer a discount greater than 20%, or else that becomes taxable. And so we are adjusting that to align and get back into compliance with IRS. But that 75% discount was inherited. We are taking the opportunity now to move that rate back to 20%, which is in compliance with the IRS. And so that's the difference. It was previously 75. Now the proposal is to 20%, which is legally allowable. And then anything greater that will become taxable, but we want to stick with the allowable 20%, and that is the recommendation in this proposal.
And that would be taxable to the employee?
No, anything over 20% would be taxable. So we are out of compliance currently in the place. That's why the recommendation is to move it to 20%.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Moore, I just have a follow-up question, or Mr. Armstrong, either way. Are we sending something to our employees to tell them the reason why the drastic change?
Yes, as soon as we go through with the approval, then yes, we will be sending information out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm guessing you said 546 registered for sports. Were 520 of them cheer? So.
Just about.
Yes, I know that's our largest program, so thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, We are now moving on to our action items, beginning with 7.1. This is the second read and approval of policy BEDA, notification of board meetings. Are there any questions or comments? I motion that the governing board approve the changes to policy BEDA, notification of board meetings.
Second.
That was Mrs. Wade for second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 7.2, the second read and approval of BAA, evaluation of school board or the board self-evaluation. Are there any questions or comments before moving forward? I motion that the governing board approve the changes to policy BAA, evaluation of school board self-evaluation.
Second.
That's Mrs. Wade for the second. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 7.3, this is the second read and approval of JLD guidance and policy JLD guidance and counseling. Are there any questions or comments before moving forward? I motion that the governing board approve the changes to policy JLD, guidance and counseling.
Second.
It's Mrs. Schultz for the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 7.4. This is the ratify payroll and expense voucher 1045. Is there any questions or comments regarding? I motion that the governing board ratify payroll and expense vouchers 1045.
Second.
Mrs. Wade seconded that. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 7.5, ratify payroll and expense voucher 1047. Questions or comments?
President Anderson, this book purchase was for A Woman is No Man, and it's a story of how a woman can break taboos and break free patriarchal, misogynistic families, break free from, and read, there was a couple reviews online that I'd like to read. One person says, the author said that she thought it would be interesting to take this very real story and frame it within fiction. However, what we got instead was over 300 pages of repetitive language, one-dimensional characters, and a contribution to the anti-Arab and inevitably Muslim narrative. This novel is heavily reliant on stereotypes and generalizations to help paint a picture of oppression, abuse, and patriarchy within the Arab culture. I understand and respect that part of the story are factual experiences of the author. However, what she did with this novel was paint an entire culture and people with the same misogynistic brush. There was almost a feeling of resentment that seeped through the pages as this story went on. The second one said, I think this book is about how women are oppressed, ? Maybe, ? It's mentioned only 20 times on every page, so it's a little unclear. I hope the sarcasm there is as transparent as this book's message. Bad, heavy-handed writing reads like what a beginner creative writing student produces. Here is my theme, it announces. Here is my message. My characters take a backseat to my social commentary. Not sure how this has such a high rating on Goodreads, or anywhere for that matter. Bad, bad, bad. I don't understand why this is, again, a book that we're offering to our students. That there was a portion in the book that also talked about kind of how she, to kind of go against her parents and what they're saying and what their religion is. And I find it, it's for me, it's awful that these kids are given a book that tells them, you can defy your parents and you can defy your whatever your religion that your parents are raising you as, considering they're minors. That's a decision that, kids can make as they get older. But again, I find it to be a terrible book. That's all.
President Anderson, Ms. Richards, would this book require a parental permission slip?
Board Member Wade, yes, it does.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I motion that the governing board ratify payroll and expense voucher 1047.
A second.
Mrs. Wade seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Nay. Motion carries 3-1. All right, future 8.1, future agenda items. Anybody have any requests? Okay, moving on to the adjournment. I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Mrs. Wade again for the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion, you want to hang out? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.